manufacturers, they asked me to prepare the production cost statement. Can I just say, just for interest sake, I want you to see that this was 2020. In this year, the matrics was at school, not the whole of second term they weren't at school. And then the whole of August they weren't at school because it was COVID. Now I want you to see the paper. And the paper were just as difficult as the 21, 22, 23 papers. Because papers are set up a year before. Okay? So these kids did not get extra good treatment because it was COVID here. So please don't think people got good marks because it was COVID. They got good marks because they worked their butts off, because they were at home most of the time.
Do it. That's the key way.
Oh, with no teachers. So it's us that makes that you do bad. I see. So I'm writing in direct labor cost, factory overhead. Can you see, you guys? I want you to see, this is my total manufacturing cost. This is of the stuff I made this year. Okay? Then I add work in process, the opening. I subtract work in process at the end. And this total cost of production is of finished goods. Nee? Just remember that. So if they want your total manufacturing cost, it will literally be direct labor, direct material, factory overheads. Okay. So they ask me, I need to find direct labor and direct material. They only have to have me calculate one of the two because I've got the total. So which one? So let's see. They give me work in process. The opening is 230. Then they give me finished goods, and can you see they bring FIFO in? So finished goods, the start and the end. What is good about this? I can calculate the cost of production, because I've got the opening balance and the closing balance. Now I only need the cost of sales. You see? Okay. The bookkeeper calculated the following. Direct material cost, I'm just going to write it here because I see there's errors and omissions. Okay. Selling and distribution not in, admin not in, direct labor question mark, factory overheads 518,800. Errors and omissions. A payment to quick deliveries for carriage on raw material was incorrectly allocated to selling and distribution. I need to allocate it to direct material. You see? Thank you. So now let's look. I've got this so far. Now they say the entire insurance amount was transferred to the admin cost. 2/3 of this expense should be allocated to the factory. So where do I get? Can you see? That is the entire amount. 2/3 should go to factory overhead. So what's 25.2 times 2/3? 16,800. Okay, the factory overhead cost included an amount for water and electricity. The bookkeeper incorrectly allocated this expense to factory, admin, sales and distribution in this ratio, but it should be this ratio. Okay, so firstly I'm going to take this out. Minus 117,600. Now I'm going to put in the right one. So that it was 6 to 3 to 1, ne? And it must be 5 to 4 to 1. So now if I take that 117,600, I want to get it back to 100. Okay? So what's 100? Can you see it's 10? If I add those three, it gives me 10. So I'm going to times it with 10. 4 and 6. 1, 4, 10. Yeah, I know I'm smart. So here we go, 10 over 6, but I want it to be 5 over 10. You don't have to do two sums, you see. So what am I going to get? 98 Dalmatians. Okay, then they give me prime cost, which we say, yeah, we saw that. And then they give me production for shirts. Okay, can you see? They actually tell me I made 7,600 shirts at 420. They give me the final here. So what is the 76 times 420? 3192 Dalmatians. Okay, so what's my factory overheads? 516,000. What's my direct material? 16. Okay, so now I can get direct labor by subtracting, ne? So 255 less 165 gives me something 900,000. Okay, now I know 255 plus 516 gives me plus 230 that's it. So that 3296, the difference gives me, okay. And if you get something positive there, then you know you did wrong because you have to subtract. Calculate the gross profit earned on sale of shirts. So it's sales less cost of sales. Be very careful. This is not cost of sales. Okay? So I have sales. They give it to me. But now I need to calculate cost of sales. So I'm going to quickly do a little T for finished goods. Okay? Finished goods, I want an opening and a closing. This amount and cost of sales. So this amount, it's 319,200. They give me my opening is 342. But they didn't give me my closing. They gave me information to calculate it. So they say 400 shirts valuing FIFO method. Okay. What is the cost? 420. So 400 times 420 gives me? Anybody?
168,000.
Oh no, I'm lying. Yeah, 168,000. Okay. And now I just balance on cost of sales, which is what? Anybody? I say I'm adding these two, minusing that one. What does it give me? Still today? Okay, and now I minus. 4932 Dalmatians.
No, that's 320. That's the way
Puppies, not Dalmatians.
Okay, so what's the answer? Anybody with a calculator? Or a brain? Don't just look at your calculator. I know it's pretty, but please push the buttons. What do I get? 4? Are you sure it's 4? Thank you. What's the markup? Markup is my gross profit over cost of sales. Are you sure the cost of sales is so little? This doesn't feel right. Oh, it isn't right because I skipped a 0. So now life is better. So can you tell me what's the cost of sales?
3366.
Thank you. Now life feels better. So it's 3366 Dalmatians. And what is my gross profit then?
1492.
Okay, so I'm going to have 14292 Dalmatians. 1494 over 3366 Dalmatians times 100, and that gives me 44.4. Right. Then I go on. For what must I wait? So 2.2, we have the purses. Leather Manufacturers is owned by Telu Andrews. They produce leather purses and leather jackets. The financial year ends February. Calculate the break-even point of purses. So it's the fixed cost. They give me, let me just put it like this that you can see. Let me fold this. So the fixed cost, I want the total fixed cost. And I do the total new year, 936 Dalmatians over selling price less variable cost. Can you see the contribution is 40? So what's the break even? Okay, now they say, comment on the level of production achieved and the break-even point for purses. Once again, I say to you, don't say the production increased and the break-even decreased. You're only going to get 2 out of 4. With anything to do with break-even point and level of production, when we are in manufacturing, they want you to compare the break-even point with the production. Okay, so I'm going to look first of all, last year, can you see? Did I make a profit or a loss? A profit. So in 2020, they made a profit on how many units? Okay. Then 2021, now remember, now it's 23,400. What's happening now? We made a profit on how many units?
600.
On 600 units. So there's your comment. You don't have to say this is good or bad, because it only counts 4 marks. If it counted 5 or 6 marks, you would have said, oh, it's obvious that they are making profit on less units. But it's 4 marks, so this would be 2 and this would be 2. Okay, if I read here, what should I have done before I just take this and work from this? In my reading time, I would have checked that the question they have here is exactly the question they have here. So then when I start working against time, I don't have to refer back to the question paper all the time. Okay. Apart from inflation and wage increase, Give two other possible reasons for the increase in direct labor cost per unit for purses. Now, if I look here, my direct labor increased. So the first thing I just want to put down for myself, for in case, I'm going to say direct labor cost per unit. Can you see how I'm writing it? It looks like chemistry. Increased to 135 Rand. Give me two reasons why. Is it because I have more workers? No. They worked more overtime. Remember, now it's different, ne? It didn't go down, so it's not about training. You see? So now they worked more overtime. And what happens if you work more overtime? No. What is it? What does it do to my costing? It increases, because overtime is more expensive than norm time. That's why if my price per unit increases, my first thought is they worked overtime. Okay? What else could it be? What happened a lot during COVID? Remember, we were in 2020. Now I know you were what, grade 7? Grade 6. So what happened a lot, except that you were at home the whole time? What happened?
Workers used to take like shifts. So if a company has 100 workers, 50 will come this time, 50 will come this time.
Okay, but if they work shifts, that is supposed to save us money.
No, but even though it was the same amount.
Yeah, but now I'm saving on the overtime.
Are you probably had to pay our workers more?
Huh?
We had to pay our workers more because it's at certain times.
What?
We had to pay our workers more because it's at certain times.
No, you don't. Actually, in those times, the workers were paid less because the companies didn't make money because the shops were closed. What happened a lot during 2020 was we went with Eskom, we went to stage 6 with load shedding. So we would have load shedding up to 4 hours. Now, can I quickly ask you this? I'm at work. I'm there. I'm ready to work. Now, there's load shedding. Can I work?
No.
Is it my fault?
No.
So I still get paid. You see? Am I productive?
No.
No. So can you see now the company needs to pay me even though I can't work. But the work still needs to be done. So what happens? I have to work longer hours. So in other words, even if I work more hours, yeah.
In this case, people, if you ask the same question, you're not included, it's okay. We say like, that's insufficient, that's why they have to take overtime.
Yeah, you can say. Workers were less efficient. I do not understand why we are laughing. We share all the laughs, ne? Workers were less efficient. Meaning, instead of them making 5 teddy bears a day, they now only make 2 teddy bears. You see? You can say, load shedding. Yes.
It doesn't about like hiring workers. How about you say hire more skilled workers?
I have less skilled workers. Because now the price went up. But you can't use that there was a wage increase. But they're not asking solutions. Yeah, that's a solution.
It's not one of the probable causes.
Okay, so you want to say because but that would come down to if you say I hired more skilled workers, then that would actually mean there's a wage increase. Ne? Because you paid them more. Yes. Okay, so they died. And you had to replace them. So, but how's that going to make my labor cost more? So I already paid them and then they die and then they didn't do the work and other people had to come in. You're going to have to explain that very nicely. What I was thinking with your training, what could have happened with training? Remember, if you are trained, no, but you are talking. I'm going to scream now. Yeah? So what you can use it, but you're going to have to explain it better. Because what happens a lot of times is in your training time, it's done in your working hours. And because the training is done in the working hours, they are being paid while they are being trained, but they're not productive. But that you're going to have to word well. So I would say, just stick to the most. In an exam, you don't want to impress anybody, you want to earn marks. So you remember, if direct labor, your first reason, overtime, your second reason, effectiveness, productivity. Okay. So if it went up, they work less overtime, they work more effective because they were trained. If it goes up, you say they worked more overtime, they were less effective because of load shedding. Okay. Or because a lot of people were booked off because they were in quarantine because of COVID or whatever. So the workforce were maybe less. So they didn't make as many products a day because the full workforce were not allowed to work. Remember, in those days, every second child came to school because you had to have a meter between everyone. So now all your workers can't come to work, only half of the force is at work, so they can only do half the work. And that's why they work more overtime. Yes. You guys sharp. Let's go on. Give 2 reasons for the decrease in the direct material cost per unit. Now, the moment there's a decrease in direct material, you say we change suppliers. Please don't use a triangle. A lot of markers will not know the triangle because they are not scientists. Okay. You change suppliers. Now that will go with closer people, less what? Less carriage. All of that will be seen as a repeat. So you're not going to talk about the carriage that's less and the suppliers that's changed. Okay? So now we need to find something else. What else makes my direct material cost less? Less wastage. Okay? Why? Because we trained the workers. I don't know if I spelled this right. It looked totally wrong. Are you sure? Wage. It looks like washed aged. Whatever. Let's go. Better quality products, material. Yes. We started. Why did we get discount? Because we bought in bulk. What? The machines are better maintained. Or we changed to new machines. That's even better. Upgraded technology. Just listen to me being cool. Here we go, jackets. Jackets. Although Tello was aware that importing leather for jackets would increase the direct material cost. Why? Customs and carriage are more expensive, ne? He thought that this would... Did you also thought that Tello was a girl?
No.
Oh, I thought it was a girl. That this would... Because, yeah, Miss Lange in 2007 was Tello. Okay, the thought that this would improve the quality of the jackets. Explain why the direct material cost per unit for jackets would probably increase if it's imported. Import duties. Really?
Yes.
2 marks there for nothing. Provide figures to prove that Tello was correct about the effect this decision could have on the cost of the jackets. So, the cost of the jackets are going to increase, ne? So, can you see what happened to my selling price? Yeah, so I would say yes, the direct material cost per unit increased from this to this, And I'm not, because I'm not sure what they want, and then I would also say, oh, the selling price per unit increased from this to this. Then they can choose which one. Calculate the percentage increase in the selling price of the jacket. What was the percentage increase? You always take the man in the hat times 100. So the change is, what's the difference there? Anybody?
390.
Huh?
390.
390, and you take the original, the 780. And that gives me the percentage. Anybody? We're almost there. Come, we can do this. Come. 50%. Okay, now, explain the impact of the increase in the selling price of jackets on sales and profit. So they want to know about the units and the profit. They tell you what to quote. So you go, look, the units sold decreased to 375. No, I'm lying. 3631. Okay? And then the profit, what happened to my profit? So if I look here, can you see here? We made a profit on 1,350 units. But if I look here, we're making a loss, ne? How many units are we making a loss now? Make a loss on how many units? Come on, guys. What's the difference between the break-even point and the production? 631. It gives me 119 units. Okay. Where do you get 20? Yeah. You're the only one working in the class. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for being there for me. The rest of you are all just zombies. Teller wants to increase profits on jackets by an additional 250 in the next financial year. Assuming the cost structure remains the same, calculate the total number of additional units he must produce to achieve his target. So I'm going to take that 250, ne? I'm going to divide it by the selling price. What was the selling price? 1170 less the variable, which is 700. So this gives me what? 470. So what's the amount of units? 432. Now there's a Now there's a catch to this one. I still need to add something here. Why would I do this? Because we made a loss on 119 units. So we're still not even breaking even. You see? So we still need to make 119 units to break even before we can start making a profit. Does that make sense?